Okay, so I told myself that I wasn't going to make any Hearthstone videos today because I have homework and lectures I need to catch up on before finals come out. But then they came out with the patch 20.4 announcement where they came out with new Paladin nerfs, which is sick, a Shaman nerf, Battlegrounds changes, and a whole bunch of stuff that came out in the previous video. So check that out if you have not already, because there's some pretty cool stuff there. But the main thing that I wanted to go into is the new cards being released with the mini set, and all of them have been announced. So basically, for those of you who don't know, it comes out June 3rd, or tomorrow. My assumption is at probably around, 10 o'clock PST, because that's when stuff like this usually drops, maybe a little bit later than that. It'll be about 2,000 gold for the entire Wailing Caverns. You can also buy packs to try to get the cards, or it will be $15. Those are the three main ways you have of getting the cards. And let's just jump into the cards. So first we have Demon Hunter. We have the 8 mana, 8/8 Taint Heart. Taint Heart Tormentor, which says taunt, your opponent's spells cost 2 more. And I think that this will be good in a big Demon Hunter deck. I think that overall the card isn't that impressive unless you can somehow cheat it out a little bit earlier, because spell-based decks are usually going to be killing you faster than turn 8, or be able to play their spells before turn 8. But doesn't mean that this card is necessarily bad. In fact, that this card has still the potential to be good. You play it turn 8, you play around a Warlock's Twisting Nether or a Soul Mirror. Let's just say you play this, Soul Mirror 7, right? They don't want to Soul Mirror. You play this turn 8, Soul Mirror's 9, all of a sudden they can't play it, and you can go face. Obviously, there are other ways that they can play around it, like Siphon Soul or Hysteria or something like that. But this isn't a battle card. This is an ongoing effect. So as long as this minion stays on the board, this effect will continue. But that also means if they're able to trade into it and kill it, the effect goes away. So I think this card is pretty interesting, good in a big Demon Hunter, and let's move on. We have Sigil of Summoning. A 2 mana at the start of your next turn, summon 2/2/2 demons with taunt. I think this card is quite strong. I think that this will be good in an OTK Demon Hunter to put some pressure on the board, or it will be good in a big Demon Hunter like it's being supported right here, so that way you can run minions to contest the board without running like demons in your deck that could disrupt the demon's energy, like, summon a demon from your deck, reduce the cost of the next demon you play. I don't feel like this gets in the way of that. And then next we have the Fell Rattler, a 3 mana 3/2 rush, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I don't think this card's that good. I think the card's fine. And if the meta is very aggressive, this could be a very good control tool. But if the meta is more mid-range or slower, I feel like this card is going to be kind of meh, considering the fact that it's a 3 mana 3/2 rush, and unless you cheese it out somehow, it's kind of weird. Because like the other Deathrattle cards in Deathrattle Demon Hunter usually help you develop more of a board, keep your board on the board for longer. But this one doesn't really do that. But it could be a good control mechanic. So it's not terrible. It's just going to be a little bit more niche. Next we have Druid. We're going to hold up for a second. Oh my gosh. I hadn't even seen some of these cards yet. Anyway, Druid. We have a 6 mana 3/7 lady and a Khandra. Your nature spells cost 2 less. Now this will be really, really dangerous with the Celestial Alignment. I feel like Zeddy has already made a video on this. I already made a video on this. Or maybe I ranted about it on stream. I think I made a tweet about it. Yeah, I don't like this card. I really don't like this card because I hate Celestial Alignment. I don't like being backed into a corner where I only have 1 mana, and then now your opponent can get a card that makes everything else free. I feel like that's weird. But overall, it will probably be a very strong card, so if you get it, congratulations, I guess. I'm blocking it 1 second. Next, we have the Deviate Dreadfang, an 8 mana 4/9. After you cast a nature spell, summon a 4/2 a Viper with Rush. There are ways that you can cheese out beasts in Druid, or at least make beasts cheaper. You have a couple of different. First of all, you have this Deathrattle, reduce the cost of a beast in your hand by 2. So you have this, so that way you can reduce its cost. You have the new card that draws you a beast and reduces its mana cost. And then you have the dormant card that reduces the cost of a minion in your hand by 5. So overall, there are 3 good things that you could do with this card to make it a little bit faster. And I feel like this is going to be very similar to the Exotic Mount Seller, except a little more niche because the spell has to be nature, which is going to be a little bit harder to pull off sometimes because not every spell in Druid is nature, I don't think. Unless every spell in Druid is nature, in which case, never mind, this is going to be super duper easy. But I think that this card, there will be decks that build around it, but I don't think that it'll just be like a random supporting card. I don't think it's just going to be a random card you throw in. It's going to have to be in a beast / nature spell Druid deck. And it makes me wonder, why would I play this over just token Druid that develops giant boards probably faster? But I do think that this card has some potential, and with some more support, it'll be good. Next, we have the Fangbound Druid. We already talked about this card's fine. This card's going to reduce the cost of the Deviant Dreadfang and probably be used in a more taunt or beast-based Druid in the near future, so that'll be kind of cool. Next, we have Hunter. So I think Hunter's cards look pretty weak. You have a 0 mana, give a friendly beast poisonous. Now this could be good with the Rush Hyenas, right? I'm working this way, this time, just because I don't know, I'm changing it up a little bit. This could be good with the Hyenas. You play the Kulkar Pack Runner, a spell, then Serpent Bloom, and the Rush Minion can kill anything off. I think this card is good, but I also don't know what I would take out of an aggressive deck to put it in, right? It just feels kind of weird to take out something that does damage to put this card in. That's just my 2 cents on it, but it's not that bad. Next, we have a 4 mana 1/2 weapon with poisonous. I think they're really trying to push a more control style of Hunter with these, getting Rush Hyenas, getting poisonous and more poisonous. The only issue with that is there isn't that much support for it now. And because of that, I don't think that these cards will actually see that much play. I think that they could, and I think that you can make a control Hunter with some OTK potential, right? I think that you could maybe do that. You set up an OTK, then you run the 3 mana 3/4 poisonous, or that gives your spells poisonous. You put in some good control spells, some rushes, some cheap spells, this weapon, this minion, the Serpent Bloom, and control the board. But the fact of the matter is, without any sort of healing or armor gain, a control deck is just not going to work. We've seen this with control and ping Mage. We've seen this with some other control decks just in general that aren't able to heal up, so they just lose. Like even Warlock, because they do damage to themselves, the healing isn't enough to keep them alive. And because of that, I think it's going to be hard to pull this off as a control deck, but maybe not impossible. Next, we go down to Mage. We have the Frostweave Dungeoneer. We already saw this card and talked about it, but I thought it was going to be bad, unless they get more Frost spells. However, I think that there is some potential here because they're really supporting the Frost archetype. They're giving you a Flowcaster, which costs 2 less for each frozen enemy. Very similar to the 6 mana 5/5 that costs 2 less for every secret, which was pretty good. Then we have this. Then we have the Shattered Blast, destroy all frozen minions. This could work really well with the legendary minion that freezes the entire board of the opponents. For 7 mana, you can just destroy everything. Or even just Kona Cold. Could be 6 mana, destroy 3 just minions of your choice, which could be pretty good. So I think that the Mage is getting a pretty decent amount of support here. I do like both of these cards, and even the Flowcaster. I think that this could be used in a more mid-rangey, freeze-based, like, control Mage. But, again, without that much healing, it will struggle a little bit. But I think it has potential. Next, we go to Paladin. Summon 5 2/2 adventurers with random bonus effects, which basically means that it will have Rush, or Divine Shield, or Taunt, or maybe a Deathrattle of some kind, or something along those lines, where it just gets a random keyword, which is pretty cool. I think that it's a little bit slow for a Paladin deck, but that's just me. Next, we have the Seed Cloud Buckler, which is a 3 mana 2/3 weapon. Deathrattle, give your minions Divine Shield. I think this card looks strong, but I don't think I would run it over a lot of other stuff in Paladin already. But maybe I'm just underestimating it. I think that this card is good, and if you're playing it in a more mid-range or slower deck, like let's say you play N'Zoth Paladin, and you set this up a couple of turns before, you play N'Zoth turn 9, refill your board, and then boom, your last attack with the Seed Cloud Buckler, and you give your entire board Divine Shield, so it's basically impossible to kill. Like, there are ways that this could be really good. It just requires some setup, and I don't know what I would take out to put this card in. And then last, we have a secret. Whenever a minion attacks, set its attack and health to 1. Okay, so Paladin gets another ridiculously strong secret. However, the other 2 cards are pretty bad, so at least that's something. They're not getting a ton of stuff, which is nice, considering Mage is getting a decent amount of support, and Demon Hunter's getting some cool stuff. So I think, I don't know. This is so, oh my gosh. I feel like the last thing Paladin needed was another secret. I'm just... Why, Blizzard? I don't want to deal with more secrets and have there be no secret interaction. However, we might see some stuff in the future that removes secrets. Maybe there will be a neutral card. I haven't gotten to that point yet. Priest. Against all odds. First of all, think this is a hilarious name, considering the fact that it destroys all auto attack minions. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's a 5 mana, destroy all auto attack minions. Nothing special about it. I just think that there are a lot of like 4 and 8 and 6 attack minions that'll be weird to deal with. But I could see myself teching in 1 card of this. Next, we have a 3 mana 2/3 Battlecry. Draw a spell. If it's a holy spell, it reduces cost by 2. Think it's a fine card. It could be used in a control priest because priest in general usually struggles with draw. They just randomly generate cards but don't have any way of drawing cards. So this will be quite nice. And then we have the Cleric. Battlecry, if you restored health this turn, discover a spell from your deck. I like this. I like this. You have to meet a certain requirement before you can play this card, but its effect is quite strong. And I think that cards like this is fine, or are fine. And also, again, drawing a card from your deck is good for Priest just because it thins out your deck and you can draw things like Cthulhu a little bit easier. Rogue. 3 mana. Shroud of Concealment, draw 2 minions. Any played this turn gains stealth for a turn. That is a pretty interesting card, although, again, I don't know how good this is relative to other draw cards in Rogue. Next, we have a Savory Deviate Delight. Transform a minion in both players' hands to a pirate or a stealth minion. This will be really good to just mess with the opponent. I'd probably run at least 1, if not 2 copies of this in any given thing, in any given Rogue deck. Because 1, it's a cheap combo starter. 2, it'll mess up the opponent's combos. And 3, if I set up my hand in such a way that I don't care what minion I lose, like let's say it's late game or I don't have any combo pieces in hand, I can just play this and mess with my opponent. And then lastly, we have a 3 mana 2/5 stealth and has poisonous while you have no other minions. So this is a actually really strong card. It's very sticky and has stealth. And it'll have poisonous before you play the thing. So if this is the only minion you have on the board, you play this turn 3. You can trade in first, get the poisonous effect, and then play their minions. I think it's quite strong. The stats on this card are ridiculous. A 2/5 that's going to be almost impossible to kill. So it'll almost always get the first poisonous attack off, which is quite pog. Shaman. Battlecry, draw a spell. If it's a nature spell, draw an elemental. I think this is a very good card. It basically says Shaman needed draw. We're giving Shaman draw, which is pretty sick. Perpetual Flames. Deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. If it dies, recast this overload 1. On the bright side, it says enemy minion. So it's not going to accidentally target your thing. Which also means... Oh no. I just realized there are a ton of new 1-cost spells that could mess you up if you're playing Oh My Yogg or against Oh My Yogg. Imagine playing Oh My Yogg and then having it randomly cast Savory Delight and then just losing your combo. God damn. I'm gonna just quick rundown right now. Oh My Yogg is not nerfed here. Very upset by that. I really wanted Oh My Yogg to get gutted or changed in some way. It is my least favorite card to play against, like, almost in the game right now. But anyway, cool card. Overload 1's a bit sad, but it's not bad. And it could potentially wipe an entire board if the minions, or if the opponent's board is weak enough, especially if you have some spell damage. And then boom. I have to play an elemental, gain +1 attack, a 1 mana 1/3 elemental. Really strong for Shaman. It means that elemental Shaman can be a little bit more aggressive because you have another turn 1 play, which allows you to curve out a lot easier, which is super nice. Warlock. After you draw a card, change its cost to health instead of mana. A 4 mana 2/6, very sticky. I do like this. However, I think that dealing damage to yourself will still hurt against decks like Hunter and Paladin, which will probably still dominate the meta. Also, Rogue. I don't know. I think this card has potential, and you could definitely do some really cool, sick combos with this. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of cool, sick stuff you could do with this. The only problem is, again, the fact that you probably will take a lot of damage. which is just not great when the meta is so fast. I don't know. But a 4-mana 4/6 demon is good. You could potentially give this lifesteal with the Manari Mosher that gives something +3 attack and lifesteal for a demon, which is good. It's another demon you could run in a demon warlock and get some pretty cool stuff off. So don't get me wrong, the card's good. I just am worried if there are a lot of aggro decks left in the meta. Next we have Final Gasp. 1 mana, deal 1 damage to a minion. If it dies, summon a 2/2 adventure with a random bonus effect. I think that this is a cool thing. You could potentially, it's like Mortal Coil, but I think a little bit better in certain situations, right? Drawing cards are good a lot of the times. However, getting a 2/2 minion on the board and applying pressure to maybe an aggressive matchup like Hunter or Paladin could be quite nice. And then you have a 2 mana, deal 6 damage to enemy minion, which is really strong, but excess damage gets done to your hero. But I think that that's fine. This card's good. It's a cheap, good removal. I might run 1 copy of it to test it out, but I'm not sure quite yet. Next, we have Warrior. A 6 mana, 3/9, Frenzy, gain 8 armor, Deathrattle equipped a 2/5 Turtle Spike. This card's insane. The only bad part about it is that it doesn't have taunt, but a 6 mana, 3/9 is crazy strong. This is with gain 8 armor and a weapon. This is insane. I think that this is probably the best card that has been released. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but 6 mana isn't even that slow. Like, you're probably going to get the 6 mana against most classes, and let's say you armor up, you get to 6 mana against a hunter. You play this, you trade into a minion, you gain armor, probably kill something. Super sick. Super sick card. I'm sorry. This is really good. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating saying it's like the best card, but I do think that it's quite strong. Probably top 5. I actually am very excited about this card. Then we have the Hatchet. A 1 mana 1 for weapon. After your attacks, give a minion in your hand +1 attack. It's a small thing, but could be used in a more aggressive deck, which goes very well with Mana Arms. Battlecry, if you have a weapon equipped, gain +1/+1. So you play this turn 1, you hit, you play Man at Arms, and best case scenario, this pumps this up, and then you play this, and you have a 2 mana 4/4 on turn 2, which is cool. Obviously, it's not always going to work out that well, but it's nice. Next, we're going down to in the neutral cards. We have, Mutinous. We've already talked about that. Next, we have a new legendary, Archdruid, Nerelix. I don't know how to say words, I'm sorry. Dormant for 2 turns. While dormant, add a dream card to your hand at the end of your turn. So you get 2 dream cards, which is kind of cool. It's a 3 mana 3/3 where you get 2 random dream cards. The dream cards are all pretty good, so not bad. I think this card is solid. It's a neutral card, so I could see myself running this in multiple different decks, mid-range or control. Probably not aggro, though. Next, we have the Selfless Sidekick. 7 mana 6/6, equipped a random minion or a weapon from your deck. I mean, this could be good in Warrior, I could see, but it's a bit slow for me. Like, at this point, I will have already probably drawn weapons or Corsair Cash and played a weapon. I don't think Selfless Sidekick is that necessary. It's too slow to be good in Weapon Rogue, because by turn 7, if you haven't won yet, you lose. Warrior, it could be good in, but that's about it. That's about it. And also, you don't want this to happen for, like, Paladin, because the Hammer of Naru, its best weapon, is a battle cry. So you don't really want to cheese it out that much, in my opinion. Then we have 2 more cards. Devouring Ectoplasm, Deathrattle, summon 2/2 Adventurer with a bonus effect. We'll get into those adventures in a second. And then it's fine. I could see this being put in like a Deathrattle Demon Hunter to make a sticky board. And then last thing we have is Meeting Stone. At the end of your turn, add a 2/2 Adventurer with a random effect to your hand. Which basically means you play this turn 1. If it doesn't die immediately, you can get, 2 different minions probably. But most likely you're just going to get 1 because it'll die. But you got a spell damage, a taunt, poisonous, divine shield, wind fury, stealth, lifesteal, and rush. All of which are pretty good cards for 2 mana. Not insane, but fine. And that is it. We have 49 comments. Feel like Stealer of Souls will be broken and wild. If that's the Warlock card, yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's some sick combos you can do with this. Just in standard, the meta is very aggressive. I don't really want to go into the comments because I've been talking about this for quite some time, but 35 new cards were announced. This is going to be sick. I'm excited to see some nice changes. A little bit more aggressive warrior, but also a good control warrior tool. Support for Big Demon Hunter and Deathrattle Demon Hunter. Potentially a new Druid deck with a cool new beast. Mage getting a decent amount of love, really pushing the Frozen archetype. Paladin, hate new secrets. Priest, some pretty decent all-around cards. Rogue, some hand interaction and a really strong minion. Shaman, card draw, good efficient removal, and another elemental for more aggression. Warlock, decent. And then neutral, hand interaction, although a bit slow. Cool legendary that gives you dream cards, and then these three are kind of lackluster. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.